They've never been able to show their clutch because they haven't won those big trophies outside of Kesper Cup. They'll say they just need time. The time is now.
Yeah, we remember they 3-0'd Gen G in the Kesper Cup as well, so it wasn't exactly that clutch moment. The Game 5 that I remember was the summer final against KT where they came up short.
How about the 5th game against Gen G?
Yeah, exactly.
Or the 5th game against KT. Both of those didn't go their way. This is only a regular season match, but you just look and listen to the crowd here, and no one knows that. Everyone thinks this is the match that matters. We'll zoom in to Big Ban, game number 3. Joining us late, patch 9.4. Silas is global ban. Something we haven't mentioned today.
Yeah, we haven't.
It's out there around the world, but Silas is global ban. It's why we have not seen it picked or banned. Today, Galio ban. To open things off, and this time you will note that Griffin finally see the error in their ways and aren't interested in any cleared Lee Sin.
Yep, exactly right. So they are going to get rid of it. That was picked up in the second round for SKT. In game number 1, the Vladimir going to be followed with, and that's exactly what SKT did on the blue side last time around as well. So we'll see what the changes are, and the LeBlanc is the answer here from Griffin.
Seems like they're trying to get SKT to first pick Zoe. If you see the LeBlanc ban, they could go further and ban it, but that is my thought when I see a LeBlanc ban against SKT. It is, of course, the champion. The Faker plays very, very well. But the Lissandra's now taken a loss. The LeBlanc is an interesting one to evaluate. We'll see what SKT want to do, and they'll actually curtail Tarzan. It's not necessarily a pick that he goes to every time. His most played this season by far is the Nocturne. But they don't want Olaf out on the Rift. Does that mean Rek'Sai priority goes up? As when it comes to tempo junglers with Lee Sin and Olaf gone, we're getting to some extended innings.
Yeah, exactly. Things like the Xin Zhao start coming into the conversation a little bit more. Aatrox's going to be the final ban, and good lord, there are so many things available.
All 80 carries are available. The Zoe available. A lot available at first pick, and it seems like it's going to suit having more picks in the first round here on the red side. But what's the first pick? The Khan Jace gets overlooked, so frequently banned against anyone. This is Khan. But does Sword feel like he can deal with a third game of being on the receiving end, because not many people can dictate to Jace?
Exactly, especially not Khan's Jace as well. We were treated to it in the last series from SKT. It was up against Kingzone, a Kingzone that were on a tear at the time, and Khan made them look pretty foolish, but Griffin seemed to have dug deep so they can get the Callista Thresh potentially for the bottom side of the map. We'll see whether that's what they're going to lock in.
The latest gold standard seems to be Callista Galio. That's the only duo banned. Galio is banned in the first round. Everything else is available, so we'll see where the prizes are. Seems like Griffin really want the Aurelia. Now, Aurelia can lane into Jace with a bit of help from jungle, and also works well into Zoe in the mid lane, outside of some of those bubbles, causing some pain to be dealt with. So this is actually a flex Aurelia first round. That was my expectation when we saw the LeBlanc ban. They're telling SKT, if you want the Zoe, take it.
Yeah, well, SKT, are they actually going to? Because they can formulate a pretty devastating pick-style composition, but the Lucian, once again,
the tier list right now already is like your eyes are dilated the maximum. It's Lucian and Jace on the same team.
Yeah, exactly. Now you can get Lucian Braum in this rotation if you want it as well, but remember, Griffin did manage to school that lane pretty effectively with the Alistar alongside the Callista.
Now they can force a first-round support pick here and stop banning other things. That's what you want to do. You want to hesitate or at least accelerate the support choice. See if Griffin feel like they can just crib into Lehen's extended innings or go for something like the Alistar, which will be banned if it isn't first round.
Yeah, the Alistar or the Thresh are available here, and the Alistar was the tried and true choice into this lane last time around. Remember, it was largely because that double kill happened underneath the turret very early, and that was because an early game jungler was chosen by Tarzan. Now, can SKT get rid of enough early game power in this next round of bans?
And do consider what the team comps are if this was a 3v3 game, if this is on the Twisted Tree line. SKT have good poke, good laning, Lucian Braum, Jace. However, we talked about this many times when we talked about Urgot being removed from first pick status and Jace replacing him. Jace macro is not. Well, you can still team fight with the Urgot ultimate. You're Jace. You're very much still about playing 4-1, 1-3-1. There's a lot of engage from Griffin, and there's a lot of poke from SKT. So where the draft fills out from here might crib them away from the 3v3 identity, but consider what the bans mean when we already kind of know what the team comps are about.
Yeah, well, Sejuani going to be banned here. SKT getting rid of a champion that Tarzan has been overperforming on in history, but hasn't been playing it too much recently. Nocturne going to be banned here as Griffin decide to take away the big counter to the Kalista. An understandable ban there.
Want to relieve pressure as much from Viper, who by the end had the double healing shield with overheal, Bloodthirster, and the Play the Ruin King, and was hopping mad, and SKT didn't have backline access. Jace doesn't have backline access either. So will this be about what the team comps have or what the team comps don't have? That's usually the duality of League of Legends comps. You can go for more dive on a threat, or you can get even more power to kite back yourself. That is what is you're empowered to do in Dross, and they actually will ban away the Elise. Tarzan, you guys missed the MVP vote, was MVP winner in spite of having those fights where he died as an afterthought. He was clutch. And now we're going to see an adjustment in strategy. No last pick top laner. In fact, will be Yorick top, and the confirmation of the Aurelia mid to hide Tarzan's jungle champion. Is this going to be a counter pick on Clid, or is it going to be something spicy like his Evelynn?
All right, speaking of spicy, Faker's potentially cycling through some interesting pickups.
Azir was buffed on this patch. It's a pretty big buff, and it will be selected.
Oh, all right.
And it will give them the mixed damage they're prizing. So, Aurelia versus Azir in the mid lane. Yorick versus Jace. Blind jungle matchup, and they pick a ticking time bomb, and they just straight up take the Zac and say, you're going to still have to be bold, otherwise Zac in a team fight needs no introduction.
Yep, exactly right. You can do some pretty fancy things to a Kalista as well. If she's Fate's Calling, you can get a cow delivery system if you can kidnap at the right time, but hard to land on her with that elastic slingshot. And here we go. All right. Tarzan's going to pull the trigger. He's played this once before, and it was terrifying.
I just said it out loud, but I couldn't know it would be today. But the Evelynn is locked in. They do go for a risky last pick jungler to find the picks. They're saying if Jace is extended in the 2v1, they'll explode him. And when they try to load up for the inevitable 4v4 phase, they're going to have one variable that's so hard to account for. Just where is that damn Evelynn?
And also, it's another dive threat because you can use the ultimate and get the hell out of dodge from underneath the turret. So they can once again be very, very dangerous. However, not pre-6 this time around. So we'll see what Griffin do to mitigate that.
It is important to note that I feel like Evelynn's wheelhouse here is either playing around the Jace in the side lanes, of course, can't ever have full tabs on where she is, or a pick after level 6, but kind of before level 11. The reason why I say that is, at some point, you're trying to threaten Azir, Zac, Lucian, Braum, and you're just going to die as Evelynn, right? You're too squishy to get any picks in that scenario. Azir in a teamfight scenario just really answers a lot of what Evelynn's about, unless you're already overrunning SKT. So it feels like the window of effectiveness is not level 4 onwards or level 3 onwards like we saw with the Elise. The Evelynn can be so much finer with where she is strong, especially because Azir really does loom as a compositional answer.
Well, we'll see exactly how SKT is going to be able to navigate this one. I love what Griffin have put together this time, though, because this is mid-game dominance from this team, and they're trying to fight fire with fire. They know that SKT have been able to get advantages in the early game in the past. They're going to try and do the same here, much like game number 2. See what happens game number 3 right now. Griffin fans in full voice as Lehen's once again going to be heading towards the mid lane. And Marta's going to get first damage.
A lot of skill names to brush up on. Evelynn back in the LCK.
Yeah.
Only person daring to play it is Tarzan. Threatened for the longest time by Spirit, but Tarzan pulling the trigger. Does have a victory in the LCK, unlike some other champions. I'm looking at you, Heimerdinger. Still hasn't won in the LCK. And Garen is the only champion to never be played next to Nico, who has not been played in the LCK yet.
Yeah, not quite. Although Nico, on this patch, pretty damn strong.
I think on 9.5, and even on 9.4, it's a pretty busted champion that we'll see from time to time in bot and top. But we'll zoom in on what we do see here. It's Khan on his famous Jace. And Griffin well knew it would be first pick. It is the ultimate first pick champion on patch 9.4. And it's Khan's Jace, the pick that propelled into superstardom on Longzhu in 2017.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that SKT have managed to get their prize. Braum 3 games in a row that did so well. In game number 1, Tarzan's going to hate spike up these popcorn chickens and then head towards a warded red buff at the start of this one.
Now, I want to talk about the Azir. Lethal Tempo Azir for more attack speed with National's Tooth, the core build. Azir got base attack speed buffs on this patch, and to reiterate, all attack speed purchases are 40% more of base attack speed. So the more base attack speed you have, the better your items and keystone is in giving you power.
Multiplicative scaling.
Exactly, and that means that Azir will be stronger when he hits his item spikes than ever before, and in a very noticeable fashion. Couple of extra soldier autos, and that health bar, especially if someone is squishy as the Evelyn, will explode.
Exactly. And we've already seen, I believe it was Tempt that picked it up relatively recently. Actually had a day out on that champion, much as we know he can do.
Amusingly, it's two champions that don't have a lot of scuttle threat early. Both of these are usually cowering in fear of the jungle matchup.
Yeah.
So just seeing who actually kind of pops out their chest first, as we know, it's clear it's a pretty relevant thing as bonus gold and experience in the early game for an Evelyn and a Zac.
Yeah, and Zac's been a favorite of Blitz for quite some time, as well as, understandably, checking in on the top lane matchup. Sword is getting shoved in. Surprise, surprise. Conqueror is going to be picked up here from Khan. Last time we saw the Yorick, he also picked up the Conqueror, but gone for the grasp just to keep himself alive. Going to be hard for him to land too many of these grasps.
Did he just miss all those three minions?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just getting to him.
I tried not to pay attention to that one.
I couldn't take my eyes off him.
I know. Well, Faker and Chovy battling this one out, as Chovy not going to find too much joy there with the W. He's still working with a pretty gigantic health lead. Azir not exactly the greatest in the early game, though, as you can understand.
And Azir compositionally in the late game is very different, like you mentioned, to Azir in the lane. So for now, at least Aurelia can shrug off damage, be happy enough in the trades. Clid, the most empowered Zac we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Trying to find information. Remember, the way to answer Evelyn, especially after level 6, ward those camps. So she's sighted at least for a time. They're actually considering a dive here. Sword, if we're looking about 500, 600 health, but not much more.
Yep. Sword actually going to go aggressive here. Dives back in. The ghouls are going to get mad as well, but it's going to have to be Clid that tanks up this turret. He's actually just going to close on in here. It's not going to be the elastic slingshot to open this, as he's going to get connected to the tower. The Dark Procession is in there as Clid. Going to land a couple of autos, but the passive is not enough. The flash eventually gets used from Khan, as now the Bloblets should go down to the turret teleport. Has to be invested as Clid does respawn. Khan underneath that turret, so close to going down. The last shot, not enough.
16 health. The Zac able to limp away, but a lot years no longer can they threaten dives. Zac passive is down, and they use all summoners topside. Meanwhile, Tarzan walks up. A lot harder on this EAP jungler to pull off a turret dive.
Yeah, not going to be doing it pre-6. Need to have that ultimate available before you can reliably get under a turret and out in the nick of time. But Teddy's pretty capable of cleaning up this minion wave, but first turret plate still going down. And it feels like this Kalista into the Lucian matchup is working out once again, despite not having that double kill early.
And is it worth it to pull off this play? An SKT fan will say yes, a Griffin fan will say no. And my question will only be answered, I feel, over time. Because now, you have a kill onto Jace, you have a good start, you did pick up the kill and no one died, but there's clear targets on everyone involved in this play. All three, 2 on SKT and 1 on Griffin, have things that are down and positions where they're behind. 16 health on Clid as he slivers away, and we'll only know if it's worth it around the 15-minute mark, and maybe not even until that final Nexus explodes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 15 minutes is a long way away. We're only at 5.5 at this stage of the game. 100 gold is going to be the lead that SKT have after that first blood. But as you can see, it's a gigantic one for Khan. 20 CS advantage over Sword. There's a 8 spike going to clean up some of these minions as Lahens gets a phenomenal knock-up with the Pulverize.
SKT get more gold, and now, as you can see, a pretty big gold lead, although a lot of this is minions that haven't been pushed into the turret onto the Yorick. What do Griffin get is the reverse answer, and that is Tarzan with a faster route to level 5. He's got access to more camps because Zac was spending so much time topside. So that threat of the invisible assassin that is Evelyn does come on early, and Evelyn as a champion, if you don't ward her camps, is a team-wide problem, because it's not is she there at that moment. They don't have that extra information we do, so everyone has to play with lingering terror when Evelyn has her summoners and her ultimate available.
Yeah, and it's basically not necessarily is she there, it's this champion has the potential to be everywhere.
Yeah, could she be there is the question, not is she there, because you can't know, but you can only suspect, and right now they have no forward vision, and Evelyn has hit level 6 pre-7 minutes.
Well, they know that she's now over near Clid as the charm is going to come in. Just looking to steal this one away and does so quite easily. Control ward should go down. Tarzan is scary and he's already starting to become a big beast at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, they're
Last
using
Caress now available, level 6.
They return to the area where they previously took away Krugs. They're stealing away a red buff, and Faker was on a recall. So good timing here for these contests. Does mean the increasing lead on Evelyn over the Zac, and the Ruined camp here is really important because the rubber band is going to come much later. This is a camp that's hard to return to, the enemy Krug camp again and again.
Yeah, so that's why you're going to see Clid actually backing once more.
But remember that when you have a winning lane, now it's harder and harder, unless a successful gank is found, for Eve to play topside, and maybe the Zac will get free camps later. They want successful ganks, and we talked about returning to Summoners being down.
Yeah, acceleration gank going to come in. Oh, that's a beautiful weight there on the headbutt. He's in the baby cage, and he's dead. The Jace had no chance. Griffin strike.
And because we're so early, there's no Rift Herald to pay till these flashes are back up. But we said we didn't want to have a full judgment. It's all about who returns to the scene of the crime, and this time it's first action Griffin.
Yeah, really nicely played, and that was a huge pressure point that SKT had available to them. Griffin, you can understand exactly why they head back there, but SKT didn't have an answer for it.
To me, SKT's read, Atlas, is that if Jace has the 1v1 lead over Yorick in the mid to late game, they trust the forward to repel Griffin's threat. And I agree. It's Evelyn and Irelia, two melee champions who can be stuffed by the Shurima Shuffle, by the Zac Kidnap. There's a lot of ways to answer in the 4-1. But if Jace falls behind and there's no 4-1, they're probably going to have a lot of struggles in playing out this win condition, especially if Jace can't actually contend with Yorick in the side lane. So I understand why they started their play, but now we have to judge them based on outcomes and how close is Jace to extending further leads over to Yorick. We're not to know.
Exactly. He's going to get back to the lane and continue pushing this one forward. Has a serrated Dirk now. He's still going to die just as easily. The Evelyn turns up. Runic Echo's now completed for her. Is okay. Griffin going aggressive bottom side, but Marta mitigates a lot of the damage with the Unbreakable. Is SKT playing so scared down here because they just don't know where this Eve is.
Negatron Cloak completed here. Maybe Wit's End coming out of Chovy. Only Negatron Cloak item you could see in Irelia building, and does build out of the recurve bow as well. Seems to think he's going to be in the lane against Faker for a lot of times, and maybe this is just, all right, if I'm against Faker, I'm liking it. If you're lane swapping, might be on our terms if we can get some more advantages in the early game. So different item builds, I want to mention that. More attack speed available to Irelia after the change. The on-hit damage comes later, the attack speed comes earlier. So what about bringing your own on-hits in the Wit's End?
Yeah, I actually really like it. We had that conversation about the buffs to Azir being about the attack speed, and buffs to, or changes to Irelia, much similar as Khan. Gonna get jumped on here. No ignite, but it just looked like it because of how much damage he was taking from the Maiden and her escortees. Okay, there we go. That's the snipe. 50 gold going over to Khan, but Sword is trashing this particular exchange.
But what if Yorick had found some extra CS for a Sheen? Might have been a kill there, so that was only with Tabbies. We're seeing a next level. Notice the level lead for Tarzan. He's level 8.
Yep, special delivery on Damata there as well. Unbreakable once again mitigating a lot as Tarzan going to get knocked up. Clid finally comes on in there, but that's a beautiful head bonk as Tarzan is able to limp away, but Khan has to flash to get out of the Dark Procession as another Pulverize comes on in. Clid does have the Cell Division available once again, but Faker doesn't have teleport. Khan doesn't have teleport. And that means that Clid doesn't have his life.
Everyone packs up and comes bot lane, but it suits Griffin there, the 2-level lead on the jungler there, and early use of the ultimate to get out. Full health. They're getting turret plates as well.
Yeah, Khan actually going to walk up once more. Does have an empowered shock blast for Griffin to deter them from taking this last turret plate, but Tarzan's already on the dragon. And this is dominance in the early game from Griffin.
Yeah, it's a huge gold lead for the first time this series for Griffin. 2,600 gold. Really bursting out of nowhere, and a Drake to back it up as well. It's TP Jace versus TP Yorick, and the TP Jace wasn't able to impact like some of the earlier TP champions we had in the meta. And the level lead was very, very significant between the junglers. Now, 3 levels. Actually, no, I should tell a lie, but still 2 levels, but level 9 already. Matching his mid laner is Tarzan.
Yeah, you have to think that Clit is going to be a little more relevant as the game goes on, but look at that, Hex Flash not even needed from Lehens to start this off.
God modes this play. The first engage is the whatever part, but then how they play it out from here, they know they can look for a further re-engage. Lehens is just ambling, opening up his E-stacks, and then has the headbutt pulverized in the backline. Well immuned by the Zac. Zac's not unkillable. Zac is very much killable, and we go back to what happened in the early game. They used everything to kill the Yorick, while Evelyn got the faster level 6 and the more camps. And it feels like the more camps are more important that time out.
Yep, exactly, and Faker couldn't actually affect that play whatsoever. He's gone back, he's building towards his Nashor's Tooth as item number 1, does have Sorcerer's Shoes there as well to try and punish Chovy, but magic penetration doesn't work so well when you've already built up some magic resist, so Chovy answering very well in his item build, like you say. Wit's End looking to be on the way for the Aurelia. Khan still not up to his first item just yet. Of course, Sword's going to take a while. Trinity Force is going to be his item of choice to start this one off, but now, all of a sudden, he's 2-1-0. The Yorick is having a great time here in this lane.
SKT know there's light at the end of the tunnel. We talked about it a lot. We love their 4-1, and Jace, while not as ahead as he would like to be, is still in a good spot. Remember, we'll get some extra gold from the Cult cash-in. Yep, on that early kill, so that's the further snowball that was granted. But now, when Tarzan and Chovy go places, it's risky for SKT to walk up. Khan will be picked instantly. Zac has no passive. They're going to have to give away map advantages to the side of Griffin, or moments like this one.
Yeah, Tarzan's found Khan, and the Death Caress not going to be enough to kill him, but is going to be enough to get the Jace out of here and guarantee that Shelly goes over to Griffin.
Death may be the hardest CC, but the way to guarantee this should have been DPSing him out, but Khan wants to poke. Smite is down for Tarzan.
Full vision available here as Clit's just going to walk on up. Khan still around the area. We're going for the Smite fight. It's not quite there yet for Tarzan, but Clit's biding his time. They're just waiting for it. His sword just solo kills Khan. He was limping at that stage, but now Lehens might be out of position. The flash, the pulverized, Viper's in range for the Fate's Call, and it's all just a cunning ruse here by Griffin.
But it was an elaborate ruse. It took a lot of tools and a lot of time. They were playing with the fact they were ahead, but didn't have crucial tools like the Smite. I'm not sure if that was spotted by Khan or used on him on the initial burst. Didn't kill him. That's why Khan stuck around, but they get the kill, they get the Rift Herald, and somehow Lehens lives as well.
Yep, and now Sword is in such a great position. Able to put a lot of punishment onto Khan here, who eventually purchases his first item. Youmuu's Ghostblade now done. 33 minions still need to go down for that Cull cash-in, and let's have a look at this one more time. He's very low.
And we know Smite is down. Don't look at what it says there. Smite is down to start this play. So it's a lot of posturing at this point. Ghouls do get the kill on Khan. As in the picture-in-picture, we can see Rift Herald in the mid lane. Let's look at the crucial moment here, because Lehens just tries to contest it. We'll just have to hold the point. We see a charge. It's after 14 minutes, so no more gold in the pockets of Chovy.
Yeah, not going to be able to get too much more from that one, but to weaken this turret is certainly a good thing. They want to be able to open up this map to allow Tarzan to move freely through the enemy jungle. In fact, turrets going down are going to be even more important on Griffin's side than they have in previous games. We talk about it being very important, but with an Evelyn, having that true sight on the turrets is actually a huge deal.
And it just feels like a job fair right now, because the job of Jace is to split push with pressure and the 4 to contain. What if Jace can't split push because he doesn't have the control? All the items start to go the way. Remember, it's CS parity between the Yorick and the Jace right now. It does feel like he doesn't have that lane assignment, that a lot of things fall apart, and 3 kills going to Yorick were not part of the plan after the early first blood.
Yeah, exactly. It feels a little bit like Pub Smithy in 2018. To be honest, if you got sick, I mean, you had to come to work anyway, and Khan's feeling like he's getting sicker and sicker in this lane.
But I had the solution to that. I just didn't get sick. So the Korean advice here is to just win lane, Mr. Jace. Just win lane. You're Jace, baby.
Well, thank goodness 2018 had you winning lane every single time. Otherwise, it would have been a pretty awkward solo cast for Brendan or I, or Seth, of course, who was still here back then. Shout-outs to Achilleos. Viper underneath his turret.
Out there watching right now. Shout-out to you. Thought of you a lot during that Jin Air series yesterday. How many good moments in the Jin Air series was Achilleos front row for?
Yeah, well.
94 minutes to dream for sure.
Was that a good moment?
16 minutes for the first time. Bit of a nightmare status for SKT. They're definitely not out of this game, but where they're at right now feels like a game that in patch 9.4 Griffin have a lot more tools. Their dirks are serrated, and unfortunately a lot of blunt tools on the side of SKT. The Nationals Tooth is there, and we already mentioned that the base attack speed buff, Azir is going to be stronger earlier, but map control, which has been kind of theirs all series, is starting to slip away, and the Drake's stacking up. They may not be Infernals, but they're going to Griffin.
Yeah, the thing that's really scary here is this is Griffin winning an early game and also expanding this lead much faster than what SKT were able to do in their victory in game number 1. Remember, it was very, very slowly moving towards SKT winning 1,000 gold at a time that they had to work for each time. This feels like it's naturally heading towards an advantage for Griffin, but it might stop now as Swords get him booped around the Maiden, doing a bunch of work, and that's 800 kill gold going over to Khan. Feel like that might have been the medicine he needed.
The mid-game needs to be about the 1 in the 4-1, needs to be about the Jace, so getting kills like that are welcome respite for the side of Griffin.
Oh yeah, actually Teddy CC'd a lot, has to flash to get himself out of the way. The culling is going to come in here though, as Tarzan reveals himself. SKT get under the turret, as Split does have the elastic slingshot to join this fight.
But that's the problem for Teddy and Mata. How much respect do you play at every moment of level 11 Tarzan on Evelynn? And the answer is, at some points going to be more, and other points less. They walk up and need to use Exhaust and Flash heal on Teddy to get away from that one, and Tarzan didn't have to use anything. He just had to reveal his position.
Yep, precisely. And now Chovy's going to push this minion wave towards this very weak turret, and Tarzan is going to lie in wait just in case Faker tries to challenge. Faker smarter than that. He's not going to, but this means free out of turret going over to Griffin, and solo local gold going over to Chovy. 450 in the back pocket.
And the Hex Flash tells them and confirms there's a ward over the wall because Faker fully disengages from the turret. So little bits of information gained for no cost in terms of Hex Flash. Gonna watch the replay. Sword goes for a face check. His team is, as we know, fight ready in the mid lane, so it's not like he goes for a huge walk, but as we can see, too much of a walk. Zach able to get a kill involvement there, and Koma with the fist bump knows he needs more moments like that to stick the landing.
Yeah, but then, you know, the fingernails right back in the mouth. You can see he's definitely sweating at this stage. Still, this game is wide open between both SKT and Griffin. Griffin feeling like they found their mojo back again, though, in game number 3. Have to remember, this team is still a bunch of titans here in 2019. It's weird to say about some of the youngest players in the league, but it is certainly the truth.
But the gold lead's not growing, Atlas, and that's where SKT can find some welcome respite. They definitely want to get some deep breath to find a way to get control of 50% of the map and then sneak in those wards to make Tarzan accountable. That's too much to ask. At the moment, they're actually flexing with their lane assignment here a bit. Finally, a champion who has access to the Maiden and can actually DPS her down without having to take Yorick damage. Azir is that champion, so this is something we didn't consider from the pick and ban, but in the side lane, Azir has the ability, without teleport, to be relatively escapable. He may not be able to join for a start on a Drake, but in 2 minutes to Cloud Drake, so maybe that's a acceptable loss for the side of SKT.
Yeah, having him towards the top side could certainly be the answer, though, because Griffin do have a lot of damage when it comes to taking down the Baron, and even if it is spotted, they do have the Rend to help things out there as well, so probably not going to be going for it at 20 minutes or anything like that, given the game state. It is something that SKT will need to bear in mind. So Faker most likely will be relegated towards the top side and the mid to make sure that he can attend any sort of contest for a Baron in the future.
But a winning passage of play is SKT moving their troops around and going CS for CS with the enemy. That's what they want. They feel so confident in Azir Zach as that core duo. As the game goes on, they can stall, they can engage, and so hard for the Evelynn and Aurelia to have true threat onto that grouping pairing. Yeah. But Griffin want to continue to make this game about what they have. They have a fed Evelynn knocking on the door of a Lichbane rush as a second item.
And has level parity with Khan.
Every time you see Sword just giving up on a minion wave and rushing towards Jace, though, should be pretty aware that Evelynn's likely to be here. Evelynn trying to find Jace, and for now, Jace unawares.
Yeah. Lying in wait here, as he's just going to walk straight up to melee range with Tarzan. The flash comes in, but there's the charm. See you later, mate. Last caress is going to get him out of there, but Sword was the one tanking. It was unnecessary. The Maiden's going to get to work there on the turret, but he's going to move on back, and Griffin take it all bottom side of the map. Clid's going to turn up, walks over a control ward, and as he kills it, his bottom lane inner turret is going to go down, and Griffin are actually fighting on multiple fronts. Faker is able to
Yeah, being
Use,
zoned away.
Yeah, his E to get out, but getting out's not what he wants.
But you just see the rock, paper, scissors against a fed Evelyn. When do you flash? It's the question for Jace. Either you're not there, or Evelyn reveals herself with the W, and you're dead.
Yep.
Follow flash, hit the very easy line skill shot, no juking available. Easy kill. Now Jace in the side lane won't have flash, but Sword also. Flash in the same play. Pick up the kill on the Jace, now the 1. A little bit less potent, and we can see from the grouping, the SKT have to respect, but for now, don't lose the top lane turret.
Yeah, we're going to see this play one more time.
There's the warning, and now he knows that
yeah.
Eve is there, but there's no play to be made. Can't juke away from it. I don't know if Sword actually had to flash there, but obviously Evelyn damage calculations in pro play is something that's pretty unexplored. We return to the action. Third Drake unanswered. It's a Cloud, and actually will be a third Cloud Drake. Means Evelyn's going to get around the map faster, but it doesn't mean Mountain or Infernal to ramp up the dread from SKT.
Yeah, it certainly is pretty overcast at this point in time, but movement speed is an underrated statistic, in my opinion. Triple bounties on the side of Griffin. 4,000 gold is the lead, but the Dragons, being advantage of Griffin, are not as pivotal this time around. Double Cloud into the ocean is not a huge deal for SKT fans, so you can continue holding on hope that things are going to get better as this game progresses further.
Everyone has core item builds. Voice Staff second for Faker, so he's ready for teamfight damage. Wants to be able to hit multiple members with this build, and even Trophy has quite a decent stack of magic resist. Remember that you also shred magic resist.
Oh
Faker,
my
he's
god,
just dead.
Barrier or not, you are just dead.
Ha! Evelyn burst range, huh?
Right. Okay. That's what a Lich Bane does, I guess.
Yeah.
That's that damage calculation we're talking about. A health bar. That's what it is.
A health bar more.
Yeah. At least a health bar. I can't guarantee more, but it's at least a health bar.
So what do you know right now as SKT? You don't have wards on camps. You know that any moment you could die instantly.
Yeah.
Is there a bigger terror than not being able to see the person who can do that?
Well, Clid is going to have to Elastic Slingshot his way out. And look, I don't have the answer for you, Papa Smithy. I feel like you get to see Tarzan's Evelyn when he needs to win a game.
And it's from ahead in terms of his items, his levels, and map position. You just don't get the early warning, you just die.
Yeah.
Jaws would be a very different movie if they didn't know the shark was coming.
An invisible shark.
Yeah. So Faker's like, I'm going to check to see what's going on. And then he's yeah.
That's the point where, like, if you're sitting on, like, if you remember back in the day, Papa Smithy, when we were playing on NA ping, I think you were dead before it even got to you, that information from the server.
Well, you know what else can die pretty fast against an Azir? It is Barons. They're starting it. This is more about the turn.
Yep, Sword has his teleport available, and he's also made it towards this inhibitor turret, and this is a Trinity Force user. So they're going to back away from the Baron at this point in time, and the Yorick is going to do the same from the inhibitor turret, but Griffin are happy to do this do-si-do. Tarzan's going to find Clid once again, and he's got run of the jungle. The more time he can spend doing this, the better it is for Griffin.
We take a breath again. 5,000 gold lead now. Map positioning good for Griffin, but I applaud SKT for starting something because it relieved pressure that right now was piling up. Does mean they can start to get some vision around the Baron, but definitely not solo vision because item leads are there. They're not huge, but they are there. For the side of Griffin.
Well, Teddy going to get flanked here. Lehan's not going to get the headbutt pole. Oops. That was a bit of a whoopsie. But he deserves one because he's had pretty good back-to-back performances.
And they got flash heal out of Teddy anyway, so didn't look like there was going to be real chase range there. Regardless, headbutt pulverize doesn't come off. They get the summoners. That's a pretty good thing. We already saw that Evelyn against no summoners. Even Evelyn against summoners. Pretty good problem.
You can have as many summoners as you want. Faker used his barrier and still died, I'm pretty sure. It took a lot of pretty quick looking because he didn't stay alive for very long. Teddy going to go back home. We'll see what he can actually pick up. Third item was a rapid fire cannon. Game number 2.
Hex Drinker is...
yeah, please get it.
But if you go Hex Drinker, do you do enough damage? Is sadly what Burst AP Assassin from the jungle forces you to think about. He goes for the BF sword because he feels like he needs the damage, and Alistair, Aurelia, and Yorick, not the fastest health bars to push through. But is this game going to be about the damage he has or how fast the enemy Evelyn can blow him up? These are the sort of questions that high-level games are based on. We said the same thing about the level 1 or the early First Blood play. I'm going to say the same thing now about the lack of magic resist for Teddy.
Yeah, I hope he's going to go into a GA with this item purchase as well, because then at least he's not going to be an instant burst option until that one is taken down. Might be able to play a little bit more aggressively.
I think the way you phrase it as a pro player, though, is if Evelyn blows me up, was there bigger problems? Because Evelyn has to get into very close range against a champ who is likely going to be pathing around supports the entire game.
Yeah, that's true.
So I can understand. As long as you play to your items, then I don't have a problem with not going for something like a Hex Drinker here. And like you say, Guardian Angel could be the next back. But it's all about playing to your win conditions, playing to your advantages and your disadvantages. And so far, Griffin have been just a little bit better as Tarzan shows up and everyone gets the hell out.
Yeah, it's nice timing, but is it actually going to be enough? Good double knock up there as Marta throws down the ultimate, but the Pulverize is also great. Teddy, he has the shield. Viper's in trouble, and Teddy somehow survives. Now in the backline, Khan's keeping everyone busy as Tarzan has been given up. Lehens just pulverizes the Lucius, but look at the Faker damage. That is just insane, as now Sword, not a lot of options, and Chovy's already out of here. This should be Baron and SKT back in the driver's seat.
That is the turning moment. They get the pick onto the Kalista, who goes too aggressively to pick up the kill. Griffin didn't need to do that. They flexed, and now SKT's on Baron.
Yeah, Chovy's trying to grab whatever he can. I believe this will be out of turret, falling in the mid lane for Griffin, but the Baron will go to SKT. 3,000 gold to lead for Griffin. This power play should be able to get SKT back in the lead.
Huge Baron, and it's when the rest of the map was set up for Griffin to force bad trades for SKT. Instead, SKT get a Baron that should never have been on the menu. We'll have to watch the replay to fully take it all in. But their lust for killing Teddy was too much.
Yeah, and that's a Spear of Sojin coming in as we have a look at this one more time.
So does Tarzan ever actually get the bonus damage there? Hard to tell. They dive in. Teddy lives on a sliver, and from there, Viper, who's full health, dives straight into the Cullen with no more threat, with Faker fighting next to him, and that means that he goes down. Viper is too razor trained upon backline access. He has no one in front of him. He has no one healing for him, and only Lehen's giving up his health bar is enough to change anything, and the best they can get is a one-way exit ticket for Chovy.
Yeah, Chovy actually uses his teleport to go straight back into the mid lane, so at least get something for it. As you can see, Coma starting to look happier and happier in this game.
People will say, how unlucky. He should have died. He was so low. That's what you say when Griffin are backs against the wall and need to make that pick or just get outscaled and lose the game instantly. And yes, there's an argument that a lot of this comp will answer them, but with that game state, we were minutes, maybe 10 minutes away from that ever happening. So they are too bold. They make a decisive call that isn't the best, and they can't pull it off. And that means SKT have a lot to like now. They can make the game about their strong wave clear, their disengage, and not about the things that Griffin held over them.
Yeah, the problem is for SKT is that they haven't got a lot of wave management. At this point in time, wave pushing towards the bottom side, outer turrets still to take, but you can see that top wave is going to take a lot of work to get that back towards the very low outer turret. Sun turret is going to go down here as SKT still have close to 2 minutes with the Baron buff, and the gold is very close to even. When it comes to game number 3s, deciding matches, this is exactly what you want as Sword comes in and even gets a turret against the run of play. Powered recall.
It's only going to be a trade down, though. It's very hard for it to be a trade up. And what do SKT have? What does Griffin have left? Can they actually find threat in any of the side lanes? Your first thought is no. We're going to whack her down with Demolish Procs onto inner turrets. Fourth turret of the game. Still one less than Griffin have claimed. Baron buff power play sitting just over 3,000. But what power does Griffin have to wield during Baron? It feels like very minimal, but it's not actually the base being broken on first Baron of the game. It's a catch-up Baron from SKT.
Exactly. Well, Teddy going to be able to finish off his third item. The Spear of Sojin comes in. Much like the old Essence Reaver build here from Teddy, the 3-item spike much bigger here for this one. And he is a great bridging tool to get SKT towards that late game that they want to be fighting in, with Faker on this Azir, who's building towards what looks to be a Rabbidan's Death Cap as item number 4, which should be one of those first nails in the coffin against Griffin.
This is the roller skating, ice skating Lucian build. 40% CDR from items and CDR from the Spear of Shojin active. Not often will you see Spear of Shojin and also Black Cleaver in a build, just because of overcapping or the fact that you're not getting true damage or true mitigation like a Guardian Angel on IE. However, it's chosen here to allow him to never be cut down, to never be in one spot and to skate around a team fight doing his best Kalista impression.
Yeah, well, I mean, the real Kalista is on the other side of the rift, but Viper hasn't been able to find the team fight safety that he had delivered to him on a silver platter in game number 2.
Speaking of the other side of the rift, Sword doesn't have teleport. They're going to lose at least an inhibitor here, and Sword cannot match the pace.
Yeah, Faker is also setting up the Sand Soldiers to make sure that he's safe from an Evelynn flank. Tarzan is lying in wait. He does have an opportunity, but he just can't take it right now. He cannot survive against the SKT onslaught as Faker. Banshee's Veil there, now on cooldown.
Baron buffs have worn out. There's no Baron buff recall. That's why they're pushing to stop SKT from full channel back.
It is actually going to be an even trade, and that is
TP.
in fact, yeah, that's a Baron.
We're seeing a lot of action here.
Yeah, inhibitor, but that's going to be the ultimate to come out from Viper. Throws in the face call. The kidnap is brilliant, though. And that's what we were talking about. Chovy, he's going to get taken down, but can Sword win the game here off the back of this? Lahen's in so much trouble. Viper is going to die. No one's back. No one's there. It's a quadra kill for Teddy, but Khan is the one that gets
take a 1v1.
Yeah, can he actually take down Sword? There are minions, but he can't do enough damage. Faker turns up. And now SKT should be able to win the game.
This is what it takes to take down Griffin in the regular season. The one throw, but the close from Teddy plays to his items. He pushes up, and SKT are going to win.
And Griffin, the cojones to go for that kind of play, to go for the base trade. In the end, it's going to be SKT walking away with it, but the calculations just minutely off for a Sword to be able to win that for Griffin. SKT have done it. The first loss for Griffin. Or they're going to back away.
Tarzan respawns, and all the fans stamping their feet understand that they've done everything except end the game.
And now Tarzan is a champion with stealth that can walk into SKT's base.
Korean observers with the full zoom with those depth timers. Next level. But it means we still got game to play. Keep enjoying this one, viewers. You thought it was all over. We did too. It is not. Watching the replay here again. The fact that Baron buff was about to wear off is why Griffin could push up. Otherwise, Baron buff recall is enough. But Teddy is the ultimate ice skater. He rolls through. He's fine. During this fight, he could open with ultimate just to get that passive on the Spear of Shojin. They outfight here, and the moment that we see the stasis, we think it's over, right? Kalista can't do damage. They're shouting, and they for sure feel like the game's over as well.
And you can see Zephyr, you can see his face as well, but Tarzan, this is what I was afraid of. This is what I thought the Griffin squad would be able to do. Remember, he's got a Lich Bane. That is so much damage.
But his natural counter the control.
Oh no.
This is so tense. If Khan moves too far, they lose it. Where is Tarzan? Is he around the Baron? Is he around the base? It's the base.
Yeah, Control Ward goes in. There's the flash from Khan. He just wants to kill the Evelynn before she can get there, but Sword has teleported forward. Empowered recalls are going to be available, but Griffin, can they actually make this win? Oh my god! They turn it on its head, and Griffin have won the best of 3 we've seen in 2019 LCK.
There's a Peke, and there's that finish where actually the Evelynn is a cunning ruse. They get in there, they end the game, and SKT, for all their hard work, for all that adaptation, they go down to Griffin.
Oh my goodness, and you can see Viper just launches himself towards Tarzan. They know who the mastermind of that play was. We've mentioned how smart this guy is. That was a next level smart. You can see SKT fans just devastated. They barely understand what happened. We could barely understand what was happening as it was happening. And SKT couldn't get back to their own home to defend it.
The 18-0 undefeated season could not have come closer to being ended. It felt like it would end on a whim. SKT had everything ready to go. But it doesn't happen. Griffin get to bow to the fans. They have defeated SKT in one of the most famous best-of-3s we will ever have the pleasure of casting. And the only thing that SKT, Griffin, and neutral fans can agree is all we need after this is a best-of-5.
I absolutely just want more, Papa Smithy. I think we might need a couple of days rest, but then definitely, if there's the opportunity for a best-of-5 between these two teams, there is nothing more exciting than that. What a way to end such an incredibly close series. This is what we wanted. Back in the Kesper Cup, remember, Damwon got the upset against SKT, sent them home early. But what we wanted was this dream team up against Griffin. The first matchup, it didn't impress us, but this one certainly did. certainly shown that Griffin can bleed as we move closer and closer towards that gauntlet.
Says that Griffin can bleed. They're bleeding out, Atlas. They're all over the place. This is some Rambo stuff right here. How did he survive all these bad guys?
Oh,
the tale of the tape for these 3 games is unbelievable. And all the players can do is smile with some bemused smile, pack up their gear, and know they got out. They keep up their undefeated streak. But there never, ever can be a closer finish than what we saw in this game number 3.
And we just have to remember back to how young these players are as well. And think about the game of chess that they just won in that late game. Open Nexus comes in, you expect Evelyn to try and backdoor, right? But you don't expect the double TP to come in with this control ward delivery after the flash.
So he ults over the wall. This is something that was lost in the play. Puts down his own control ward. Of course, revealed he ulted over the wall. But that allows double TP to come in. The Baron was the sleight of hand, and the reality was even better than what we saw on first glance. The ult was not revealed. The ult was necessary. That's how you get around a control ward, a cunning ruse, and Sword is hyped.
Oh, just incredible stuff here from Griffin. That game, unbelievably close. But yeah, throw it all away. All of these stats, all this stuff, it's unnecessary now because we just want to see that matchup one more time. I just want to see it for the rest of the year. That's what I want. I want Griffin versus SKT from now on.
We have a second series after this.
Oh, let's not talk about that for now. We've got half an hour to reset towards Gen G versus KT, which is actually another pretty exciting one, but for the other end of the table.
Listen to the diary entry of Tarzan. Dear Diary, today, after a bad early game, I won the game with a blind flash cocoon, then I ulted over a wall and didn't have ult against a full item Jace, but it worked out. It was a good day.
I was an Evelyn with a Lichbane that decided I wasn't actually going to win the game by hitting the Nexus. I was going to distract a Jace while the rest of my team hit a Nexus and won the game.
Alice, he had a Lichbane in the dream, that's for sure.
Oh, the dream paid off. This is my kind of dream. I want to know, like, what he does before he goes to bed to have dreams like this, because that's some incredible stuff. Out of Tarzan.
This series happened. This was real life.
Yeah.
This wasn't our dreams. I tweeted after game 2, sometimes you anticipate something, and it's like SKT versus Griffin first time, like, this was just rubbish. Griffin just rolled over them. And then we get a series like this that's everything it could be and more, with super plays, with an ending that will never be forgotten. Just because, could there be any more of a debate than the full 90-degree camera with only Evelyn on the way into the reverse ending that was even more improbable?
Exactly, and also there was slight back cancellations coming in from the bottom lane of Griffin. I mean, this was an entirely coordinated play all the way across the map, reading SKT like a book. After SKT got this close to winning the game.
Fingers closer.
Sorry, yeah, this close.
That's
to
love
just
right there.
straight up winning the game.
What a best of 3, guys. Thank you so much for being there to join us. Better than the sum of its parts, better than we could have dared to dream. And it's series like this that remind us why we watch competitive League of Legends, because a lot of us know what all the champions do, and some of the games play out exactly like we thought. We almost didn't need to watch it, right? I look at the pick ban, I look at the Reddit thread, and I'm like, yeah, I saw that game 3 years ago. You never saw this game. You never saw this series between SKT and Griffin. It started oh so long ago, where we posed the question, is it enough on either side using all your summoners to get Sword ahead? Who's the victor on the other side? We said it was Evelyn. Evelyn ended up dictating the game until she didn't, until SKT seemed to absolutely have the keys to the beautiful car of being able to drive away as the only team to beat Griffin in 2019 since the start of the Kesper Cup. And yet, how could we know there were more turns of the story from there?
Oh, I certainly didn't, but I'm so glad that I didn't, because Griffin always seem to be able to deliver when you least expect it. First Hanwha Life come back from an 8,000 gold disadvantage, did Griffin. And this time, turning around what was basically their Nexus being smashed to a pulp, and then SKT having to leave. Oh,
how did they manage to follow up Jinair finally winning with an even better series? Of course, it's going to be played at a higher level. These are better teams. But the drama, the action, every little moment, and the fact that it was never just one team slugging at the other over 3 games. The closest was game 1 when it was SKT slugging at Griffin.
Yeah, exactly.
This game had counterpunches we couldn't see coming. It felt like they had dark techniques, like you weren't going to see this jab from around the corner. No one-punch man in this series. This was a boxing match between the two best heavyweights we have. Apologies to Sandbox, who deserve respect as well. They have also made SKT, they have also, like SKT, made Griffin bleed, but never like this.
No, certainly not. Not with this level of finesse. SKT deserves so much credit for this because they played like they were the equal of Griffin for the first time a team's done it. I mean, it was picks from Sandbox that was so incredibly strong in the draft that I felt got them over the line against Griffin in their match, and then Griffin came back and smashed them. This was two teams on even footing having to play to the nth degree in order to win on both sides.
And yet Tarzan, just like in our opening, can sit back and say, I was the smartest guy on the rig.
Yeah. He is the mad scientist of League of Legends, and I just love watching it absolutely every time. And look at this. Massive damage numbers to come in from Faker. He was punishing Chovy. Chovy's Aurelia was basically a non-factor until he last hit the Nexus.
And for SKT fans, of course, we will go to that MVP interview and into our second series. Your parting message here should be, yes, frustration at the loss, but a recognition that their team played excellently in this series. They didn't consider themselves equals to Griffin the first time around. They were in the right mindset here. They drove them to the end. And on any other day, they would have picked up the match victory and it would have been deserved. They are super hard done by in defeat, but in defeat, they will be stronger after a performance like this.
Precisely. You can see SKT had a 5,000 gold lead at the end of that match that Griffin just decided they needed to win,
bloody
and
hell,
they did.
Bloody hell.
Bloody hell
best
indeed,
of 3.
my friend.
We're Aussies. We're not equipped with language that's broadcast acceptable for moments like this.
No,
give Tarzan his MVP.
I lost a lot of my words because there were certain ones that I really wanted to say but couldn't. But there it is. Tarzan's gonna get it. His Evelyn comes out, never fails to impress, but I didn't think it was gonna be like that. Oh,
unbelievable.
It's witnessing history, man. That's what this is.
But the thing about this player is his mechanics are good. I wouldn't say they're net otherworldly, but they are very good. He is a very good mechanical player, but it's the places he's in and the decisions he makes and the overall involvement in the entire team. We don't even show the replay of the reason he won this MVP. Yeah. He won the MVP for a blind flash cocoon and the most creative way to get a ward into the base to end the game.
Which is exactly why we credit Tarzan with being so good at this game, which is exactly your point. Just illustrates your point.
He won 2 MVPs for things that aren't even relevant to how the game usually plays in solo queue. And it takes the LCK faithful to know that those moments were MVP ready. Of course they were. They won the game and they weren't killing champions.
Well, we are going to get that highlight in the end. As you can see, this was from Sword's perspective, as he decided that he just wanted to get rid of Nexus
So
turrets.
how did he actually get him out of those? Because remember, Khan got a recall. Was this just for mana? We'll understand this. So this is...
Oh, it's the Maiden just going ham on the Jace.
Maiden going ham. This is how the base was decided. We're going to go for a full long replay here, I guess, because Evelyn just died, so we know it's earlier in the play. So this is how the base was wiped out. The finish couldn't happen because Azir got the recall off. We remember that, of course.
Yep.
So this is the genesis of how this all begun. The overall play there. So thank you for that extra information. A lot wasn't shown on screen. The observers did debate us sometimes, but also there was a bajillion significant things happening right on the screen.
There's still more. There's still more that we need to see.
What did we miss?
Yeah, what was Viper and Lehens doing? Well, the Baron was going down. Were they stopping the recalls?
Even
is that the reason why they won?
Replays, we might miss more action than we have in another series.
I know. This is why we need every player's perspective when we go back and watch the VOD.
Bring it right, Games. POV streams, where they at?
We need all of them.
Yes.
All 10 players. I know a lot of POV streams happen, but often they pick a player. Speaking of picking players, we are going to throw it over to G-Sun for the well-deserved Tarzan MVP interview.
MVP 단독 MVP 타잔 선수 모실게요. 안녕하세요.
Griffin is still unstoppable, and we're going to be joined by Tarzan for his solo MVP interview,
2주 만에
picking up
돌아오셔서
2-1 victory against SK Telecom.
휴식 기간 동안 뭐 하고 지내셨나요?
How did you spend your holidays?
쉬기도 했고 연습도 되게 열심히 했던
We
것 같아요.
did take a bit of a break, but we did practice really hard. What was the main focal point of your practice? 2 weeks was a long time, so we tried various champions.
그런 부분에서 잘 맞췄던 것 같아요.
Maybe that was the focal point, trying a lot of champions, trying different drafts. Game 2, Aurelia, Elise, Kalista, so new champions popped up. So was that the main focal point?
네, 이렐리아랑 그
Yes,
앨리스도
Irelia
마찬가지고 원래
and Elise.
사일러스도 챔피언이긴
We also
한데 오늘
practiced
이제
Silas,
글로벌 밴
but it was
당해가지고
global banned
아쉬운
today.
부분도 있긴 한데 그래도 잘 준비한 것 같아요.
Yeah, so
네,
that was the points that we were practicing on.
잘 풀리지 않았습니다.
But game one was a bit of a
네,
struggle.
일단 첫 세트 지고 나서
So after
저희 팀이 좀
losing out the
그
first
조합상
set,
힘든 것 같아서 바로
I
이
think
세트
we
바로
thought that we were going with some bad traps, so we kind of modified it.
챔피언이고 그다음에 앨리스나 또 이블리는 계속해서 압박할 수
So
있는
game one, you
챔피언인데 그런
played
전략
Nocturne, and then you played Elise and
네, 일단
Evelyn.
녹턴 상대로 일단 완충하는 능력이 좀
I
뛰어난
think
경기가
SKT had the composition to
좀
kind of
힘들다
round out
해가지고
the Nocturne's ultimate,
네,
so
그리고
we
또
tried
팬분들 많이
to
궁금해하실
bring
때
up different
우르고스
composition.
릴리세트 모두 소드 선수가 들고 나왔어요.
And
너프덴지에
we're
굉장히
curious that
만나보기
Thor
힘든
played
챔피언인데
Urgot in game 1 and 2, despite its recent consecutive nerfs. He has a lot of confidence on Urgot, and especially about the nerf. It's mainly about the mana regeneration and also the HP, so Sword was still confident because the damage wasn't really nerfed.
또 우르고스를 좋아하신다고.
And I heard the CV Max actually prefers Urgot. Is that true? I don't know if he really like prefers it. I mean, it's like average or more than a bit of an average.
자, 이 세트에 아주 멋진 장면 나왔습니다. 경기 초반부터 바텀 다이브를 성공시키는 장면이었는데요.
There was
저희 함께
a very
보면서
early
이야기 나눠볼게요.
turret dive.
자, 이때 상대가 풀피였고
Well,
또
Teddy and Mara was
일반적으로는
both
두 명이 많아야
having full
안정적인 다이브라고 하는데 각은 어떻게 보셨나요?
So how do you see the
앨리스라는
angle?
챔피언이 다이브에 좀
I mean, Elise is a
뛰어난
champion that has such a
정글이
great
있더라도
turret dive
리스크가
ability,
없어서
so there isn't a big
연습한
risk of making
잘
turret dive.
한 것 같아요.
I think we just did
연습대로
as good as we
실전에서도
do in practice
이루어졌습니다.
games.
그리고 3세트 이블린 픽도 굉장히
In game 3,
의외였습니다.
Evelyn showed up.
일단은 탑에서
It was quite
제이스를 열어주고
unexpected.
아트밴을 했단
You
말이에요.
guys actually
그리고
opened
이블린이
Jace for
나오고 나서
Con and banned out Aatrox.
가 부활도 있고 좀 더 까다롭다 이런 생각을
So was that
하셨을
the
거라는 생각이 드는데
resurrection of Aatrox
Aatrox가
that's
일단 첫 번째
counter strategy of Evelyn?
어그로 핑퐁 쪽에서 되게 많이 해서 이거
I mean,
판도
Con did so
리산드라랑
well
아트록스가
with
나오면은
Aatrox
꽤
with the
힘들
aggro
수도 있겠다
play,
해서
so we thought
그런 것
Aatrox
네,
and
그렇게
Lissandra
오늘
together would be really hard to play against, so that's why we banned out Aatrox.
이블린 그냥 가져와야겠다 생각을 하셨나요? 아니면 상대 픽을 좀
Then what about the
기다렸던
Evelyn?
분이나요?
일단
Did you
리신이
wait till
요새
the
좀
last minute or just
꽤
banned
좋고
out
클리스
Lissandra?
선수도
Was that
잘하기
the
때문에
only
일단
factor that
일단
blocks Evelyn to
리신이
pick
공격적이어서 저도
I mean, Listen is a good champion currently, and also Clid is a really good Listen player. But besides Listen, I think it's 50-50 when I played Evelyn, so that's why we just banned out Listen and I just went with Evelyn.
보여주셨습니다. 여기서 다 보여드리지 못하는 게 아쉬울
We have so many
정도였는데요. 이
highlights.
장면이 정말 명장면이었죠. 이블린을 활용해서
Pick one. This is the one. Let's go through it together.
함께
The
보시겠습니다.
back door.
이게 누구의 콜이 있었는지 오더가
Whose call
있었는지
was that?
궁금해요.
이게 근데 원래 이 전 상황에서
For this situation,
들어간 상황이라 끝났다 싶어가지고 거의 끝난 줄 알았는데
well, actually, we actually thought that we lost the game, but we were able to save our Nexus, and we had 3 Windrake, so we were able to move really fast. And I had 1 control ward in my inventory, so I knew it could be a little bit tricky, but I just wanted to give it a try.
타산 선수의 머릿속에서 나오신 거죠?
Was that your own idea?
그리고
No, we all
궁금한 게
came
카메라
up
잡히지
this one
않았던 나머지
decision.
두 선수는 어디 계셨나요?
What were the rest of the 2 players were at?
바론 귀환 아마 최대한 막아보려고
We were the rest of the players were trying to stop SK Telecom's player space.
이렇게 나머지 선수들은 넥서스로 달려오면서 완벽하게
2 of
승리를
them were blocking,
가져갔습니다.
stopping
사실은
their
조금
recall, and
직전에
3 of them
경기가
were
끝날
just
뻔하면서
backdooring their Nexus.
당황하셨을 것 같아요. 어떠셨나요?
So what did you feel at the moment that you closed out the game?
걸리면은 거의 게임이 좀 많이 힘든 상황이라
If I get caught on the
진짜
control ward, we
온몸
were
부들부들
really
떨면서
close to winning the
긴장해가지고
game. So I was
되게
actually really
조심스럽게
shaking
간
at that moment because
끝나고 났을 때
I was so nervous, but in the end,
끝났는데 이제 막 손이 그냥
my hands were
벌벌
still
떨리면서
shaking. But I was
되게
really happy.
전율이 나왔던 것 같아요.
야,
It was
그래서 이렇게 두
thrilling.
손으로 꼭
네.
Is
마이크를
that why you are holding the mic
잡고
with 2
계신
hands?
모습입니다. 자, 그리고 오늘 초비 선수가 데뷔
네.
1주년인가 봐요. 맞나요? 네.
Chobi is having his first year anniversary of his
초비
LCK
선수에게 한
debut.
말씀 부탁드릴게요.
Any message for him?
제가 그냥 1주년 축하하고
Congratulations on your
앞으로 더
anniversary,
잘해서
and I hope you
좋은 성적
perform
만들자.
well, and let's get a good result in the end of the split.
따뜻한 한마디 감사드립니다. 자, 다음 팀은 샌드박스예요.
Your next opponent is
정말
Sandbox.
가까이 붙어 있는 팀이고 SKT만큼
They are
까다로울
on
텐데
second
어떻게
place.
준비하실
It's gonna be as
생각인가요?
tricky as SK Telecom. How you're gonna prepare for it?
팀원들이 다 잘해준 것 같아서 다음
I think all
경기도
5 players were doing so well today.
내일 하루
So I think we
연습하고
can still
준비 잘해서
perform well in our upcoming series. So we're gonna have a day off tomorrow, and then we're gonna prepare hard for the upcoming series.
여기서 마칠게요. 타잔 선수
This
감사합니다.
will be the end of the interview with Tarzan, and I'm gonna pass it back to our
네,
caster.
중계석
Thank you.
나와주세요.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, and thank you so much, Tarzan, for that incredible series. We were here, Papa Smithy. We were here for SKT versus Griffin, and we're so glad that you guys were here with us, because this is something that people are going to be talking about for a long time. This series delivered in ways that we weren't prepared for.
No. How could we be? Even the grandest of hopes couldn't have anticipated a top 5 best-of series that I can remember. It's not a final. It isn't an elimination match, and yet a lot of people are feeling stoked, bemused, shocked. All of the emotion squeals from the audience. Griffin, that's not a typo. They won this series. But it feels so cruel to say SKT lost it. It was such a close series between Griffin and SKT. Griffin are now 11-0. No team has ever gone 18-0. The closest was, in fact, SK Telecom T1 in summer of 2015. Sandbox have the best chance. They get a shot on Sunday, and if they miss by even an inch, they're not going to get them.
Yep, it's just over. And guys, we've still got more League of Legends to come tonight. It'll be about half an hour. And then KT Rolster will be back to face off against Gen G. We'll see you then.